I, as president of this nation, will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana.
Is the LGBT community being silently accepted by the government in Ghana, or they just don't know what is happening? Because last week they had a fundraiser meeting at their office. Diplomats were there. Let's just check it out.
Last week, the gay community in Ghana organized a fundraiser which was attended by several diplomats. With indications of further activities lined up, the local anti-gay rights group wants the police to shut down their operations. Oba Tampa Asa Abuaja's reports read to you.
So that means they've probably set up an office that they're operating from and they're doing all this. You probably might be saying, Jerry, hold up, she didn't say all that, so why are you adding all this? Why are you speculating all this? Well, let's listen to this.
And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the IGP have every right to investigate the setting up of that office, to close it down immediately and arrest and prosecute those people involved in it.
That is Moses For Amwining, the Executive Secretary of the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values. The coalition says it is incensed about the growing activities of the LGBT community in Ghana. He says a recent fundraising ceremony by the LGBT community prompted the coalition to call the attention of Ghana police. He argued gay rights are not part of the human rights laws in Ghana, adding LGBT activities are against Ghana's culture.
The argument that is often made is that it is part of our human rights law. The answer is no. I mean, the Constitution, the chapter that deals with human rights, fundamental human rights and freedoms, is pretty clear. It talks about discrimination against race, color, sex, and religious matters. It never talks about the standard phraseology which is normally used for LGBT rights, that is sexual orientation. We don't have it in our constitution, so clearly it is not part of our human rights laws, and it is also, more importantly, against our culture. If you look at the Directive Principles of State Policy, Article 34 and Article 39, 1 and 2, our cultural rights are guaranteed.
Gay rights remain a topical issue in Ghana. The National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values is calling on law to ban gay rights in Ghana.
And we will put the appropriate petitions before Parliament for the immediate passage of a comprehensive legislation so that we can define what L means, lesbianism, G, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex. These are very technical things. They're adding all sorts of things to it. Properly define them, and then we will prohibit their promotion, because the promotion is not too clear in terms of the illegality. So,
the founding president of Family Renaissance International and member of the coalition, Reverend Mrs. Catherine Onui Oduokete, pleaded for immediate government intervention to prevent any further pro-gay activities in the country.
The policies are made by them. But you see, every political class, every person in the political class, let me put it that way, everyone in the political class is either a father or a mother or an uncle or an aunt. So at the end of the day, if they don't rise up to the challenge, then they are endorsing the extinction of humans. We cannot embrace what at the end of the day is completely alien to our culture, to our tradition, to everything we stand for. And we who are doing this, we cannot append signature on what will bring about the necessary changes. So I am pleading with all the politicians, all the people in the political leadership, please rise up.
Well, technically, I don't think there are any direct laws against LGBT in Ghana. However, the laws concerning preserving tradition and culture can be used against it. But we all know that generally most of the population in Ghana are not ready to accept LGBT. Now, this doesn't need studies or whatever, because it is seen from how people were really on an uproar concerning what Nana Addo said some few years back when he was interviewed on Al Jazeera. That was like 3 years ago or something like that. But let's watch that.
Something you said a little earlier on about freedom of expression. So I want to ask you about what is happening in your country and homosexuality, for example, which I believe is illegal and it's punishable. I mean, why is homosexuality still illegal in your country?
The social, cultural issues, if you like. I don't believe that in Ghana so far a sufficiently strong coalition has emerged, which is having that impact on public opinion that will say, change it. Let's then have a new paradigm in Ghana.
Is that something you would get behind?
I think that it is something that is bound to happen. And when that happens,
what's going to provoke it? What's going to make it happen?
Oh, it's the activity, like elsewhere in the world. Like elsewhere in the world, the activities of individuals, of groups. I grew up in England. I went to school as a young boy in England, and I grew up at a time in England when homosexuality was banned there. It was illegal, and I lived the period when British politicians thought it was anathema even to think about changing the law, and then suddenly the activities of individuals, of groups, a certain awareness, a certain development grew and grew and grew stronger, and it forced a change in law. I believe that those are the same processes that will bring about changes in our situation. At the moment, I don't see that in Ghana there is that strong current of opinion that is saying this is something that we need even deal with. It's not so far a matter which is on the agenda.
That looked like he gave an answer, but let's see how former President, the late John Atta Mills, handled his when David Cameron, then the Prime Minister of UK, tried to attach strings to favors and all that relating to people accepting LGBT. Let's see how he went about it.
Let me make one thing very clear. No one can deny Prime Minister Cameron his right to make policies, take initiatives, or make statements that reflect his societal norms and ideals. But he does not have the right to direct other sovereign nations as to what they should do, especially where their societal norms and ideals are different from those which exist in Prime Minister Cameron's society. I, as president of this nation, will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana. As a government, we will abide by the principles enshrined in our constitution, which constitution is supreme. Let me also say that whilst we acknowledge all the financial assistance and all the aid which has been given to us by our development partners, we will not accept any aid with strings attached if that aid will not inure to our interest, or the implementation or the utilization of that aid with strings attached would rather worsen our plight as a nation or destroy the very society that we want to use the money to improve.
So that's how he handled it. I believe this is very clear, and we know that as believers, it's clear in Leviticus chapter 18 verse 22 that homosexuality is not something that should be accepted. No man should sleep with another man. Nobody should sleep also with another man in the nature of a woman. So that's it. It's very clear. It's clear in scripture. So let us begin to pray for the nation. Pray concerning this as passionately as you pray concerning COVID in this nation. Scripture says that casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the name of the Lord. So this is one of them. We shouldn't give it a premise or give it a chance to the level where it becomes something that becomes a topic that is so debatable in just these few years. Eventually, we're going to get there. We're going to get to the point where we actually have to look at it and address that point. But one thing I would say concerning that before it even begins in this nation is that we should love our neighbors as ourselves. So that's it. We should love them. But that doesn't mean we should accept that kind of thing in our system because it is against scripture. As believers, we will not stand for this, but that doesn't mean we're being violent towards them. It is something that we're not going to allow in our communities. And that's it. If they want to live that life secretly, that's between them and God. But it shouldn't be an influence on our families and on how we are raising our kids, on parenthood and all that kind of stuff. It shouldn't be something that should be against our culture and our tradition. That's what I believe. I believe this was awesome. I believe this has been a blessing. If this is your first time and you're searching for a Christian channel like this, talking about current issues and really talking about other issues, like we mainly looking at the prophetic and teachings, you can hit the subscribe button and check out any other video that you might be interested in. Check it out.